really thick thriller and very heavily packed fantasy. Sophie the Book Owl. Bonjour, bonsoir, bonne nuit. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sophia. I'm an avid reader and a Netflix junkie. I'm going to be doing a June-July wrap-up of all the books that I read in this 2 months. Okay, I read a total of 11 books for both of them. Yes, I have come to the decision that I am not going to stress myself or try to push myself further than I can actually take. I'm talking in terms of the bookish community and how, there's this pressure to want to read a lot of books.
And the
I'm
pressure
not going to
is
stress
getting
myself. I'm going
worse.
to take it as slow as I can, one book at a time. Okay, so I read 11 books in these 2 months. Some of them were ARC and some of them were books I downloaded because I'm an ebook reader. I read hard copies, but not as much as ebooks. I hardly leave my house, so I think ebook just does it for me. Okay, the first book on this list is Hard Bones by Colin Hoover. If you see me looking down, it means that I'm actually looking at a book. I compiled the list here because I tend to forget. Okay, I don't want to mix up anything. The first book I read is Hard Bones by Colin Hoover. The second is Whiskey Lies by Brittany Nicole. The third is Loving Whiskey by Brittany Nicole. It's a follow-up, a duo. The fourth is the Shadow and Bone series, Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Rune and Rising, all by Lee Bardugo. The seventh is Chasing Stardom by Boniface Kayamuna. The eighth is Please Daddy by T.O Smith. The ninth is The Beginning of Forever by A.E. Valdez. The 10th is The Other Black Girl by Zakia Dalila. The 11th is A Broken People's Playlist by Chimeka Garrick. Okay, this is a blend of all the genres that I read. I read fantasy, thriller, and romance. Okay, I spend most of my time reading fantasy and romance and not much of thrillers because I'm trying to take a break. I'm trying to take it easy. I have been reading a lot of mystery novels that have been marketed as thriller novels, so I decided to take a break from the thriller genre altogether. I just want to take a break till I see that thriller novel that just brings me back. Till then, I'm not going to go into that. I will focus on the fantasy novels that I already have stacked on my phone. Okay, now the first book, Whiskey Lies. This was a story of Grace Kensington, a matchmaker that is escaping from her failing marriage and is on a plane, to spend a weekend somewhere to try to forget her failing marriage. So on that plane, she meets Cassius James, who is also escaping from his life. It was supposed to be a simple, weekend getaway, trying to forget everything until she met Cassius James and the whole thing just changed. It seemed like James, Cassius had other plans, and the whole weekend became intense. It was fun. And they did the whole don't ask questions, just let's get into whatever it is we wanted to get into, as strangers. We'll just know the basic info, but not too much questions. So when she got back, she found out that he happens to be her client and she's supposed to find a wife for him because he's a billionaire and he's about to take over the family business. So she's supposed to find a wife for him, and I think it was already too late because she had fallen in love with him, even if she didn't say so at the time. Okay, so that was my very first read, in that month, and it was an arc, and I enjoyed it so much. I gave it a 4.5 stars on Goodreads. It was really, really enjoyable, and it had this massive twist at the end that I did not see coming. I was I was in a book hangover for a very long time. I had a book hangover for a really, really long time. And we kept on begging the author to give us the part two. We were literally begging to have a part two. And the part two came, Loving Whiskey. And it did not disappoint, okay? In the part two, we got groveling because Cash had made a mistake. I'm not going to say what because I think that would mess up the whole thing. Cash had made a mistake. He promised, made a lot of promises and did not keep to some of them. He got Grace angry. He even got us, the readers, angry. So in part two, we got a lot of groveling, a lot of drama. We got a lot of spice, and most importantly, we got character development. This is the reason, this right here, the character development is the reason why I gave this book a 5-star, because I think it was really, really needed. We needed to see Cash grow up because he was giving the whole I'm always used to having my way vibes and I didn't. Like at some point it was too much and we needed character development, so it was nice. I got ice cream because from now henceforth rather, it's going to get intense, okay? There's a book on this list that I did not enjoy. Not enjoying is an understatement. It was a problematic book and I'm going to explain why. Just stick with me, okay? Now, talking about the Shadow and Bone series, yeah, this trilogy actually showed us the story of Alina. Alina was an orphan girl who had been drafted into the army and of Rafka, and following her was her best friend and crush Mao, who was also drafted, and she later discovered that she had, the rare power of sun summoning, and she was destined to bring down the shadow fold that divided their country. And I'm just going to say it was an experience, okay? This is the best YA dystopian novel I have read in a while, okay? Saying that it actually came out a long time ago and I'm just reading it says a lot. I'm late to the party, I understand. I know that. Thank you very much. I know. But better late than never, right? Because I checked on Netflix and they're still at season 1. So I'm going to come back with the review much more later. But for now, let's just focus on the book. It was really, really good. And then the next book on this series was Siege and Storm. Granted, I didn't like Siege and Storm so much because I don't know, it was slow paced and not a lot happened in Siege and Storm. So I gave it a 3-star because not a lot happened and I was expecting a very intense follow-up from Shadow and Bone, but I didn't get that. And then the third book in this particular series, Ruin and Rising, just dropped everything on me. I did not like the ending. I'm not going to say what the ending is because I don't want to ruin it for you, but I did not like the ending. I did not like that trick that the author tried to pull with Mao. The whole, it's a cliche. It shouldn't be done. Forgive the author for that though. I forgive her because it's been a while. And I'm going to try more books by her and I'm hoping that she's not going to try that again. Okay. I'm going to hope she's not going to try that again. Let's just hope. Because I went into this book looking for a strong heroine. I got the strong heroine, even though sometimes she made some decisions that just... In my head, I was like, what the hell? What the hell, baby girl? Like, can you be strong? Can you try to be strong for me? And she was, sometimes. The next book on this list is Chasing Stardom. Chasing Stardom is a story of 3 people, James, Alex, and Lewis, 3 students of the University of Foxdale, who were not just pursuing education or academics, they were also pursuing music. So if you're a music fan, I think you would love this book because I absolutely loved it. And, it was just a story about all of them and how they navigated through their academics and the music. It was a light read, and even though the fact that I said it was a light read does not mean that there are not some, heavily packed drama and, lots of unfolding, but it was a light read. Okay, it was a breath of fresh air compared to what I usually indulge myself in rather, which is like thick, really thick thriller and heavily packed fantasy, mostly dystopian, but like compared to that, this was a breath of fresh air. And I rated this book 5 stars because I had read nothing like it, so I rated it 5 stars. The next book here is Hard Bones by Colin Heaver. This was the story of Bea. Bea had, a tough life, really, really tough life, with the sudden death of her mother, who was an addict. She was left with no choice to go and see her father, who was also an absentee. He wasn't there throughout her life, and she had to stay with him till she left for college because she already had, scholarship to go to college. And while she was there, she met Samson, who was a secretive, interesting boy. And the story was mainly about romance and grief. Now, the problems I had with this book, I'm a huge Colin Hoover fan, but this book just didn't do it for me, okay? I had a problem with the mother just being an addict. Like, that was all we could hear about her. Like, I needed some depth to her. Like, what was she like before she became an addict? Like, what is she like currently as an addict? We didn't have that. And then, secondly, the whole relationship between her and Samson, it was cute, but cliche they tried with, that cliche of I'm always going to be here, I'm always going to wait for you. I don't know how to relate to that. A black girl, I don't know how to relate to that. I seriously did not know how to relate to that, so it just didn't do it for me. Okay, I think she tapped into a cliche that I felt she was bigger than. Yeah, I don't know. So the next book on this list is The Beginning of Forever by Amanda Valdez. This book is the book 2 in the Sunshine and Ascent series, but you can read it as a standalone, which I did. It was a rom-com, and I love rom-coms. I don't think anything can actually come above my rom-coms. Actually are my comfort reads. Like, whenever I feel a reading slump coming up, I just grab the nearest rom-com and I just read it and I feel okay. Like, really, really okay. So if you are in the mood for a wedding season kind of book, this is the book to hop on. It was easy, it was a light read. No, I don't know how to put it, no much story consequence. It's just a perfect read if you're in a reading slump. So that was what it was about. It was about Harlow and Asen and how they went through their wedding period without issues and all. It's marvelous, okay? And then the next book is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Harris. This is a story about a black girl that worked in a publishing house and how she, wanted another black girl to share her experience with, to work with her so that she can, share her experience and her lifestyle with. She kept on asking for one and she finally got one. Hazel came and worked with Nella being the girl that works there originally. Hazel came there and I think it became too much. She could not bear what was going on. I'm not going to say what it was. This book was meant to trace the experiences of 5 black women who worked at Wagner Books from 1983 to 2018. It was meant to address subjects including systemic and internalized racism. Okay, that was the point of this whole book. It was marketed as a thriller, which it was not, because nothing actually happens till the end of the book. That's not how thrillers work, in case they didn't know. And it was supposed to target black female experiences, workplace privilege. That was what this novel was going for. I think that was the idea, but execution was poor. And the whole black female experience she talked about in that book, it's not a black female experience, at least not the important ones that we thought of, and this book is actually 368 pages long. And imagine reading a book of 368 pages and nothing happens till the last 50 something pages. This book did not do it for me. And then there was this internal racist comment about an African book that just did it for me. I dropped it. I DNF'd this book and I did not want it back. Nope. It didn't do it for me at all. I was supposed to go to Goodreads and rate it a 2.5, but I decided not to bother and I left it alone. Now the next book is The Broken People's Playlist by Chimeka Gags. I love this book. Loved it. This is my favorite book right now. Favorite. Beats all the books I've read so far. Does it actually? It beats it, I beg. This book is a collection of short stories with underlying themes that show almost everything that is wrong with Nigeria as a country. And I loved it so much. Like, the themes they complement each other, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. Like, amazing. Now the next book I'm about to talk about is Please Daddy by T.O Smith. This story, I don't think this would do. I don't think I need a strong bottle of scotch for this one, because this book is the problematic read I was talking about. Okay, this story was about Darren and Juliana. Darren had just got out of jail and he went to his brother's BDSM club, you know, to get some. And he got there and met Juliana being disturbed by another person, you know, being harassed, and he defended her. And almost immediately he fell in love. And so somewhere along the line she fell sick. I'm just going to dive into the problems I had. Okay, she fell sick, he had sex with her, and in my head I was like, is there no cuddling schedule? Like, there's no cuddling in this man's head. You don't know what it means to cuddle? He fell sick, they had sex. And I was like, okay, I understand that this book is a BDSM book, but what exactly is happening? What is happening? And he was so headstrong that he would intentionally go into trouble just to get out of it and gloat, you know. And then the girl happened to be another mafia boss daughter and stuff. And then more, in fact, if I lay down the content warning of this book for you, I'm pretty sure you're not going to read it. You're just not going to read it. And the editing failures in this book were all over the place. All over the place. I felt like crying all through the book. This author had the perfect story, okay, but the execution and the way he went about it, horrible. These are all the 11 books I read in June and July. And even the books that I did not completely enjoy, the experience was worth it. And I hope you loved this video. See you next time. Bye.